So sometimes a hack for WordPress isn't something you need to repeat. It's just something you need to do once. And in that case you want to try to avoid writing code. Maybe do something like edit the database directly. Now editing the WordPress database directly is dangerous, but there are some cases where it kind of makes sense if you feel like you know what you're doing. Like for instance moving a comment. Now if a user leaves a comment for a wrong post, which occasionally happens, then you may want to move it. Now there are plugins to allow you to do this and give you a nice interface. You know, go to the comment and you can actually select something and say move it over here. If you need to do this often then you probably want to go with a plugin like that. But if it's just every once in a blue moon then maybe not. Maybe you just want to know how to do it directly, especially if you're comfortable with working with the database. Now in Mac most, I mean there has to be tens of thousands of comments. And over 10 years I think I've had to move a comment maybe once or twice. So certainly I don't want a plugin, but I want to know how to do this in the database. So let's look at an example here. Here's a post and there's some comments here. Here's a comment that's all just by itself. This is a comment that needs to move. Great. And we want to move it over here to this post which has no comments currently. So first thing I want to do is I want to identify the IDs for these comments. I could do that by going to my list of posts here, and if I move my cursor over it I see at the bottom of the screen that this is post 223 and this is post 207. So I know I'm moving from, in this case, the example post which has the comments and that is post 223 and 207 is the one I want to move it to. You can also click on one of these posts here and then you go in the top you can see it says post equals 207 for instance. That's all I need for that. Now I'm going to go look at the database. I'm going to use PHPMyAdmin which comes installed with a lot of different servers. Typically if you set up on your own server you have all this different stuff in your controls and one of those is PHPMyAdmin. So it's probably the most common way to edit a database directly. I'm not going to go through a whole thing of how to use this. I'm just going to assume that you've seen it before. Maybe you want to play with it. Maybe do a tutorial on it. But it's just a simple way to edit the database directly without having to type MySQL commands. And here I could see the comments and I can look and scroll over and see here this is the one. This is a comment that needs to move. And it's this one right here. It's comment ID 5 and you can see it's post ID 223. So I'm just going to double click to edit that, change it to 207 and now it's that easy. Now if I go here, there's those 3 comments. I'm going to refresh the page. That comment is missing. Here I've got no comments. I'll refresh the page and that comment is there. So that's all you need to do is change that post ID. Now it gets a little more tricky if you've got replies, because you've got this comment here and I could certainly move that, but then that would orphan this reply. This reply would then not be anywhere because it doesn't have its parent there to be under. It's at a different post because you have the post ID. You can see here are the 2 posts or the 2 comments 223 and 223 here. You've got this is a comment, a reply, right? But you also have over here the comment parent and this one has comment parent 0 which means that it has no parent. It is just a top level comment on that post. If there's a number there then that means this has a parent and in this case the parent's ID is 2. So in order to move these I need to move both of them. So I need to be careful here. And a lot of times you don't need to worry about this because if you're moving a user's comment because they put it in the wrong place, a lot of times you're catching it quickly enough that there's no replies to it. So I've moved both of these and now if I refresh this page you can see the comments are gone. If I go to this page and I refresh you can see that the comment and the reply have both moved. So that's how you can do it. A problem here, it's a really minor one, is that on this page here you can see the number of comments. Yeah, that's not going to be accurate anymore because WordPress is not going to update that until a new comment is left, I believe. And so these will be inaccurate. But you know what? I never even notice these very much and I'll just wait for a new comment to be left there for those to update.